Pokemon Snap's graphics do not look better than Sword and Shields? Is this motherfucker? Alright, first of all, ladies and gents, yes, it is possible for me to be wrong at times. Big surprise coming from a human, right? In my video I made about Pokemon Snap's graphics, I was uninformed about one thing. Game Freak isn't developing this game. Bandai Namco is. I should have known better than that. I should have known better than to expect this kind of effort from Game Freak. Where are my manners? And according to Jazzman, someone suggested that Bandai take over creating the core games. And for that person, it didn't go well. So thanks for the correction, Spore Hacker, and many others that made sure that I was informed on who actually developed such a gem of a game, graphically speaking, of course. Now that that's out of the way, Callum here claims that Snap's graphics do not look better than Sword and Shields. Well, it's a good thing that opinions and assholes have relativity. But what's going on here? Could this be a new low or a new thing that the people who actually enjoyed Sword and Shield in its entirety are doing to deflect? No, it just seems to be Callum's opinion, which is perfectly fine. He doesn't play Pokemon for the graphics, and he just doesn't think that they're better than Sword and Shields. But something else needs to be understood here, and courtesy of this tweet, it is. People often mix up graphics and art style. With a game like Snap, it does have better textures and high fidelity models compared to Sword and Shield. For the sake of argument, let's just call it graphical fidelity. With that said, art style or not, because I guess people think that because it's a main series Pokemon game, it has to have a set art style and other kinds of set pieces attached to it, which is an incredible display of tunnel vision, by the way. But either way, as I was saying before, art style or not, it cannot be argued that the textures, the graphical fidelity is superior in Snap compared to Sword and Shield. So before this whole thing takes off, comparing Snap to Sword and Shield and anything else for that matter, my point at least that I was trying to drive home is that why can't we have a glorious looking main series Pokemon game with actual graphical fidelity and high quality animations, not that bullshit Game Freak peddled nearly 2 years ago that you clearly don't see anywhere in Sword and Shield, just that art style compared to Pokemon Snap, along with that typical main series Pokemon game goodness. In other words, why can't we have both? So whether you played for graphics or not, whether you like a certain art style or not, just like with nearly every other franchise out there, why can't Pokemon ironically evolve to the point where we don't have to pick and choose these things whether you give a shit about them or not? If you don't play games for their graphics, how can you really have an argument complaining about which graphics look better in either Pokemon game? On top of that, it's hard to see the art style, to see anything in something so incredibly devoid of life, let alone detail. Look at the grass. Where the fuck is the grass? Do I really need to get on that tree over there? What art style can be found here exactly? Let's just say that there is actually a set, albeit an arbitrary, graphical style, art style, whatever, for the main series Pokemon games. What would you call it exactly? Where is the appeal? And then you look at something like this, yeah, it's not all about graphics. But knowing that a multi-billion-dollar corporation, whether it's Bandai or Game Freak, can do better, I'm inclined to let my standards speak and govern my wallet to want something a little more, a little better than this compared to this. Art style or not, main series or spin-offs. You shouldn't have to want for, let alone choose between high fidelity and gameplay. Because at the end of the day, they already got your money. And you, yes you, have to live with not growing a fucking spine when it comes to the principle of these things, to stand for something rather than fall for everything. So even though Callum actually believes that Sword and Shield looks better, art style or not, well, one, that doesn't mean that his opinion can't be critiqued, and two, that he isn't entitled to it. You should also take a second look at this, especially if he thinks Snap looks like a tacky mobile game. You know, there's opinions and then there's poor eyesight and bias. He's skating a really thin line there, but he's not unhappy with Snap, guys. Y'all are taking his opinion so hard partially touched some grass. But wait, then you say you agree Snap is more impressive, but you don't think it looks better, if that makes sense. No, Callum, it doesn't. Which is it? And while you're at it, even though you got some contact lenses, you might want to order you a pair of bifocals and have those on standby if you believe this about Pokemon Snap. But again, it's your opinion. Whatever you feel about Snap and Sword and Shield, ladies and gents, who cares at the end of the day? But I think everyone can agree that it would be nice if a main series Pokemon game looked like this and played like a main series Pokemon game at the same damn time. But that's that, ladies and gents, and try not to counsel the guy. It's just his opinion. I think he wants you all to know that he actually enjoyed Sword and Shield, which is perfectly fine as well. But your opinion is definitely critique worthy, Callum. On one hand, you claim that you can agree that Snap is more impressive, but you don't think it looks better than Sword and Shield. But then you said, and you were mainly referring to the character models, that it looks like a tacky mobile game. On that note, Callum, I think you need to go and touch some of the grass in the wild area. That is, of course, if you can actually find any amongst these shitty ground textures you believe are more appealing than Snap's graphics. Oh, excuse me, art style.